All right, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, good people. Whenever you hear this message, I pray that you're poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Ashe. So I'm just back from Nigeria. We fortunately completed the tasks and the missions that we set out to accomplish in Nigeria, namely performing an Obatala initiation as well as Egungun initiation, and laying the foundation and raising the walls of the Abeokuta campus. And we came back to the U.S. and went straight to work with the things that we had on the calendar for our community here in the USA. And all of that is wonderful. It's exhilarating. It's inspiring and very affirming. And I'm so thankful to be able to participate in the fulfillment of my destiny, as well as the supporting of my community in this capacity. But it's even more meaningful within the context that we find ourselves right now. And there are, of course, in the world, there's so many things that are going on, but there are a few things that I've got my eye on that are particularly important in terms of creating meaning. So my work is more meaningful in relationship to these particular movements and trends that are afoot within the globe and within the African community in particular. One of the most significant of which is what's happening in Africa, what's happening in places like Burkina Faso, what's happening in, and then by extension throughout the French-speaking African world. Okay, there's a movement. There's a political awakening that's taking place amongst the French-speaking African countries. And I think Burkina Faso is in many ways at the forefront of all that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I encourage you to look up Burkina Faso current events. What's happening? And likewise, a little bit closer to home culturally and geographically is what's going on in Benin, the Republic of Benin. And in the Republic of Benin, they are joining the Ghanaian trend of openly and explicitly recruiting Africans from the diaspora to come home. And that's taken the form of citizenship. You know, they've extended citizenship to African Americans. There are criteria, of course, for being eligible for that citizenship, but it is explicit and it's being promoted. And likewise, in Ghana, which is further along the road in that regard, we know that a few months ago, Ghana brought in, I don't know how many hundred, several hundred Africans from throughout the diaspora came, and they did a mass citizenship ceremony, and hundreds of people got Ghanaian citizenship. And probably the most well-known of whom is Dr. Umar Ifatunde Oguntade. He announced that he has taken on dual citizenship, Ghana and the USA. And these three trends are very significant because in the midst of all of these things that are happening, in the Isheshe community, there's no discussion, there's no conversation, there's no movements or mobilization or organization within our community around addressing this spike in Pan-Africanism, this spike in nationalism, this spike in repatriation, right? And it's very significant because we have within the Yoruba context an expansive cultural empire. We can look beyond the shadow of a doubt, and we can identify Yoruba heritage, practices, traditions, back and forth movement, and in probably 90% of the African diaspora, meaning if you go to Ecuador, Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, the United States, you're going to find the predominant African culture is definitively Yoruba, which is rooted in Nigeria. And so given the fact that we have this cultural empire that is intact, is visible, is well known, it is well exercised, there is a lag amongst those who are the cultural and traditional custodians in terms of getting on the forefront, participating in the conversation around, okay, what role do we play in bringing Africans back to the continent? What is it that we can do to actively participate in the process of creating, strengthening pipelines for Africans who are already coming back? What is it that we can do to facilitate and encourage this process of repatriation? And that is something that is so important, because the real purpose of your spiritual tradition is to affirm and define your true identity. Your identity isn't just the clothes that you wear and the language that you speak. Your identity tells you who you are, what you're about, what you're supposed to do, and what you're not supposed to do. It comes out of your identity. The identity of one tree versus of another tree determines where that tree grows and flourishes, what kind of fruit that tree produces, what kind of medicinal properties that come from that tree. Is all based on the identity of that tree. This tree could call itself whatever it wants to call itself, but it can only grow and flourish in a certain environment. It's only going to produce certain kind of leaves, certain kind of roots, certain kind of fibers. It's all based on the identity. You as a person come to Orisa so that you can once and for all get a really clear understanding of who you are and where you come from, what you're made of, what your true capacity is. So we as the custodians of the tradition ought to be at the forefront of every conversation that pertains to African identity. And the things that are happening in those countries that I just mentioned, and those regions that I mentioned, are all indicators that, hey, the people are ready. The environment is ripe. Where are we in the process of leading that conversation, facilitating that conversation, creating safe space for people to explore those conversations and then act based upon the realizations and the discoveries that they make through this ongoing conversation about who we are as African people on the continent and abroad? And so leadership is all about that, in the sense that leadership creates the space. Leadership isn't just me telling you to do this and not do that. Leadership isn't just me showing you how to do one thing or another. Leadership is creating an environment in which you can grow and flourish, creating an environment in which you can get a better understanding of who you are and what your vision is, and then creating this platform upon which you can see yourself and you can project yourself, and then you can grow and expand yourself to the fullest of your ability in this environment. And that is why we as Orisa devotees, priests, and priestesses are going to benefit from creating that kind of an environment that allows our people to grow and flourish in this way. In other words, our people are letting us know what they need next. Now it's our duty and our job to use our spiritual resources and techniques to create a strong, safe environment for our people to grow and flourish in the ways that they're telling us are important to us right now. I'm sending this message out to the leaders. If you're someone who understands the big picture of what it means to help bring about the good condition for yourself and those who you're destined to serve, and you want to use positive influence to transform the world, then I want you to find out how Oloye Obafemi Origuwa and the Orisa Lifestyle Academy can help you take your practice and your life to the highest level possible. Visit me at obafemio.com or orishalifestyle.com, and let's start working together to help you live the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives of those who you are destined to serve. I look forward to working with you. Bye for now. Odabo.